change comp. Like DRX just always comp changes. They always switch things up game to game to game to game. So I really wouldn't expect anything different. Worth mentioning as well that, you know, we do have Flicker in for Australia. Before it was Australia Bane doubling up on the Sentis there. Although we did hear in the interview from DRX that Flicker is quite flexible as a player. At least in the academy roster, we've only seen his official reps on mostly Yoru and Enit, but already bringing out the Viper shows some flexibility in the Asian pool. Wonder what else we're going to be seeing.
Come on, let's go. That's what I just heard.
I got an interview, one for you as well. Just stream A, you get that BBL when Levin gets interviewed as the obvious MVP of that particular game and that map. And one of the questions was, what are you guys looking forward to in terms of taking on DRX? And he says he's ready for anything. And I guess we are ready for anything.
You are. Take it away, boys.
All right, thank you. Wow. This has been the podcast of podcasts, but let's jump in. First best of 3 here. Group B, DRX, BBL, Sunset.
Check this out.
For map number 1. Hit me with some
Double
logic.
deadlock. It's not going to be one team. It's going to be BBL as well.
Sir.
We did not know what BBL are going to bring to the table for the Sunset that they haven't played for over half a year. Now we'll get the answer to that question. And of course, Levin on the Neon.
The big difference, though, Magnum going to be playing onto the Viper. So we'll see what kind of space that could be created by that. As the opening pick over towards A main seems to be where the action is headed. Hyunmin doesn't like the look of that, backs away. Sensor drones are in place to try to stop this action. At least stall it. Hyunmin comes back with a nice shoulder piece.
And he was so good at getting that versus Titan, or rather versus Shilai Gaming. Both the Chinese teams that lost a little bit earlier on trade back onto Marco.
That's at mid, though, so some pressure now onto this DRX defense. But Bane able to stop that in its place. Sociable takes down the new man up into Flicker. Prophet able to also clear back space at Link. This will be a free rotation back to B.
Huge kill into Bane. You get Bane down, suddenly the map opens up. Now you don't have to finish on A because available. And time is still going to be good for this post-plant. Human, though, always dangerous as a player to watch out for. Still alive, still got good HP to play through. Lack of util here could be a bit of a problem for this DRX side now.
Yep, you still have a smoke available for Prophet, so how do you want to set that up as the post plant is back in towards B main? Going to take a little bit of time here for DRX to re-clear out these spaces.
And how do you, and yeah, they'll have to clear all of that out, but then how do you play into this triple setup in main? I mean, you don't have the util for this. You could slide in. I mean, Human's got to probably end up sliding in here.
Oh, there's the refresh on the grab net. Yampi stuck in the corner. Counter comes through, and yeah, Yunmin's got nowhere to go. BBL able to out-trade it, and that'll be working out beautifully for the first round, and it really comes down to that play back through mid.
Exactly. In mid, Bane, he goes 1 for 1, but then loses. A further deal is DRX. Couldn't quite hold on to that mid position, allowing BBL full rotations, 3-man setup in towards B main. Super hard to clear, very little util available on the side of DRX to play through. And a loud cheer you hear from BBL as they win that round.
Yeah, good stuff, clean stuff. And the early play over towards A is going to be interesting to see how DRX want to deal with that. Saw the sensors be dropped kind of at a choke points over towards A Link and backside A elbow. But yep, one-way dark cover just gets beat by timing, even with the initial lockdown coming through. Flicker trying to follow up, does take care of it, one trade, but numbers still good for BBL.
He was even grab netted. That maybe even helps him out because he just goes to crouch and defeats the crosshair placement. Oh, DRX, Spring and Flicker dropping 2 there, already forcing rotations. BBL can go quiet now, play off their one-player advantage. They're hoping that DRX are going to fall off this site. Humans looking to potentially check this with his own body.
Yeah, you do lose your Neon, though, so there is an opportunity here to play a little bit of contact. Mako's got plenty of utility to try to help out for Hyunmin if he hits a shot.
This is actually quite nice. I like that he's just going to be like playing in his own smoke, has Paranoia ready to go. Yeah. Hyunmin's fallen off, though, which is a problem, because if he wants to play for a Paranoia, it would be good to have Hyunmin play off that.
Nice try. Trying to play off the sound cue for the orb. Doesn't fully work out. Sociable there to keep Yampi safe. And now it's just down to what Hyunmin and Bane can find inside the A site. Paranoia cuts it across. Hyunmin for 1, but the trades are decent, and BBL will pretty convincingly take the second.
Yeah, I'm loving the confidence out of BBL right now. They're willing to take these fights, able to win them as well. That initial trade with the grab net coming through early on in A main, won by BBL. And just play it quietly. Really comes down to Marco finding a play through his own smoke. Didn't end up using his Paranoia, which, you know, possible situation where I know he wants to play off the timing. Maybe Paranoia's first. situation. We could be playing off the contact of Human as well, but maybe some difficulty there, just given if Human gets rushed down straight away into elbow, how fast can Marco activate? So yeah, it is definitely a tough spot.
It's also an anti-eco. He's got a classic. Like fast laying up, looking to move quickly as BBL onto the B site. Able to get that pretty convincingly.
Yeah, Bane's just going to give it up.
Yep. Going to play for retake, of course. There is a sensor behind the setup on this post plant that Mako is going to try to feel out. Should be triggered.
Oh, he's able to crouch past that one. That's
Sure
the thing. He can crouch past that one easily, and Profik has to be good for this, and he is. Really huge kill. Guardian taking out Marco.
Here comes the take, though, from the backside at B. Bane for one. Hyunmin following up, but the trade's still too good for BBL. Freeing the last one left alive, and he's got nowhere to go. Don't know if we needed the annihilation there, but you can stalk the body. Why
look
not?
at this, look at this. Just let him know. Disrespect him a little bit here. Well, this is BBL. They know that they're coming into this one as underdogs. They know every other team. Most teams they're going to face, especially the deeper they get in this tournament, are probably going to get favored, are going to be favored against them, rather. And BBL's like, we don't care. We don't care how the predictions go.
Yeah.
We're just going to be better than you. We're going to out-aim you. We're going to outplay. We're going to disrespect you. Yeah, just drop Annihilation in there. Yeah, we'll just do what we want.
I mean, the thing about it is the Annihilation is tossed as the retake is on the way, so, like, I get it. But clean stuff. I love the tempo change here for BBL, just not letting DRX get their feet underneath them. And now they're back on to a save. The bonus coming through puts this very firmly in BBL's control.
It's a huge kill from Profik as well, because that could have been troublesome on that flank angle in B main. So, yeah, massive stuff is be another DRX. At least a couple upgraded pistols here and a Stinger, but not looking at too much more.
Grab net forced out. No peek from Mako as the dark cover supplies the support it needs. Reveal is here. Levin, though, stalled until Sociable comes to join. And that will be market control going to BBL in a 5v4 early.
Mako has a lot to do here. I don't know that he realizes what's occurred as Levin is just going to walk straight through. He dies anyway, and this is going to be a nice backstab. Round's over.
Yep.
Didn't expect too much out of DRX given the money game, but we're already thinking about, is a timeout's going to come through DRX now? This is already an 0-4. They have their second gun round coming on through. BBL on a bit of a roll. They're heating up. They're confident. They're yelling. They're excited.
Everything's working. That's the other part about it. Again, it's early. I get it. But everything that they've put together so far has worked. So definitely leads you to some narrative and pattern trends as we move a little bit deeper into this and forcing DRX, like you mentioned, have to make some responses happen.
And there's a bit of context here as well. If you, we go back to the Sentinels BBL game that happened just a little bit earlier today on the A stream. It was 5 in a row in that second half attacking side for BBL before Sentinels finally locked in. They came through very well-timed tactical timeout. Some choice words given over.
Okay. Love this already from DRX in terms of an adjustment. You got the one-way smoke on the corner. That does get into play deep, but you also throw an early barrier mesh. It allows DRX to kind of focus their energy early in this round right here at mid. Is there a double swing available? Yep, Hyunmin for the first. Is there more? Yampi follows, but Mako trades. Numbers advantage for the first time to DRX.
A massive shutdown in terms of the gameplay for BBL as well. They don't really have any other map control to speak of. And a potential DRX are thinking about double facing straight down from top mid, re-smoking the one-way to give Bane a little bit more to work with as well.
Deep recon bolt pulls back Mako just a touch, but Flicker still holds on to the
this is going to be rough now.
Yeah, and this is, I like this from DRX with that early barrier mesh. It kind of allows you to take a little bit of an extra focused energy in the opening first 45 seconds of the round to where you can try to do something like that, where you're playing for double swings at mid. You know that B main's going to be safe. The issue will be, if this continues to be a set play for them, how does BBL respond? And if they don't even pop any contact, then DRX will go back to essentially doing the same thing that they were doing.
This could still be in a reasonable round for BBL, and I'm not even talking about the plant here. I'm talking about the fact that, okay, he's going to get the plant for money, but any kills he gets is really heavy damage. That's going to be freeing down. And that's the other thing. It is also clutchable. He's got another smoke coming online. Can he isolate these angles?
No.
But there's 3 members down. If you look at the economy for DRX, they're going to walk away with only 2 guns here. So some damage was done after BBL. Honestly, that should have probably have gone worse for BBL.
Yeah. And I just want to keep an eye on what that barrier match is going to look like if DRX continue to throw that very early at B main. Because if it does BBL just say, all right, we'll wait for that to fade, and then just keep the pressure on DRX's defense, which has been very faulty to this point. But this is the benefit that DRX get. You shut down B main, extra numbers can focus on different parts of the map. You win those opening trades.
Imagine if Bane dies here, by the way. That would have been critical.
Yeah. See what we get. Barrier mesh, not going to be thrown immediately here. It's a dark cover to get placed instead this time.
DRX, full ultimates available. Speaking of which, it's going to be TP into spawn coming through in BBL. It's BBL trying to speed things up.
And that'll work. I mean, speed things up is putting it lightly. Profit goes all the way deep over towards the defensive spawn. Hunter's Fury follows. Yunmin able to respond, though. Gets us to a 2v2, but the Neural Theft will reveal that the B-side is wide open for the taking. And Sociable will continue to let himself get pinged deep to see if he can slow down DRX on this rotation.
See if Bane has the timing here. He's going to have a 1v1, but he's just not on the right angle. Not at all. Sociable has now potentially just finished this one up. Just Yunmin left alive and not in any sort of position to get that kill, to bring it to a 1 versus 1. BBL again, keeping that lead strong.
Yeah, looking good. Tempo, tempo, tempo has been everything. Economy's going to flip now. And this is where things start to get really, really dastardly as BBL is just running away with this first half. And again, the issue right now is DRX, they want to take these early fights. They want to be in a position to respond to the aggression from BBL.
Yep.
And they're doing so by throwing early utility at B main, but they're still not winning the gunfights that they do. Sociable's 11-3 for crying out loud.
Yeah. It's interesting that the deadlocks, when we look back at the Titan game as well, as Abo top fragging.
Well, that'll work. Talk about, again, getting aggressive through B main. The overdrive's in play. Flicker with the Hunter's Fury back over towards mid. Not going to connect. But that's great space. And it's a weapon. It's got the overdrive now. Weapon's been collected. Plus, the spike is down.
11. Oh, just didn't realize how close Human rather was. And Human will go down after collecting 3. This guy's the first Blood Master. And he has done more than enough for DRX to come back in this run. And look, DRX had ultimates coming into that was their advantage, despite not having weaponry. Annihilation is still there for freeing, by the way.
Following it up off an Annihilation's going to be tough, though, with a Classic and a Stinger behind it. So we'll see if there's going to be any potential to kind of at least isolate if they get a read. Magnum. Bit of a rogue mission. Does he get good contact on Flicker? He does initially, but doesn't convert the elimination. So everything resets, 40 seconds on the clock.
They know it's not A as well, because A is so well covered by Bane's utility. Just contacting up 2 players, 1 by 1. Profit already down, just down to Magnum now.
30 seconds
and this is a huge economic win. DRX is about to get their thrifty win, and they pick up guns too. This is massive.
The weapons are a little far away to get the instant upgrade, but they should be able to get 2. So that'll be nice. We'll see if Bane can find another. No, he's not going to get there in time. But still, regardless of it, a huge thrifty win for DRX puts them right back into this map.
Yeah, that's a confidence builder as well. As you start to hear some of the celebrations, a little bit more mild than BBL, but for DRX, measured, calm, collected, as they're not going to fall prey to the pressure of being down 1-5 earlier on in this Sunset, which is BBL's map choice that they haven't shown since December of last year. They're showing it now. It's looking good, but DRX are still DRX.
Yeah, they're fighting, man. And again, they're doing the right things in terms of let's take B away, force the gunfights to happen through mid or at A, which is tough to do against a deadlock. So they're doing the right things in terms of keeping them in the playbook to counteract what BBL are throwing. Different look this time, though. BBL going to have a little bit of a show of force at B main and now start to get an aggressive step forward at elbow.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be info now. Shots fired. Tag into Magnum as well. Multiple players shooting. Humans sprinting over. Curious thing is, though, A main is just so covered in utility between both Bane and freeing, which really only leaves elbow available. And so they're going to make a lot of noise, but the issue is they've kind of stacked 5 man here. They're going to make a lot of noise. Might just go quiet here and re-enter A, but if they want to go to other places on the map, they just don't have the info anywhere else on the map, and that's a huge issue.
Yeah, because the Aldrone for DRX cleared all of mid and looked into tiles. So now you're using an Aldrone just to try to keep DRX a little bit more planted to give space for BBL to rotate over, but Yampy will fall on that lurk, and now it's just down to the 4v5 on-site. Paranoid cutting across. Mako stepping up into a corner. Hasn't fired yet, but does get figured out. Annihilation called behind that as Magnum will find a double 11 another. And now it's just down to what exactly Bane and Freeing can find from outside the picture of this Viper's Pit. And it looks like this round's going to come to a conclusion.
Freeing was hoping so hard that he was going to catch Magnum and that Annihilation. That would certainly defeat the pit. He's going to make a good go of this one. 1 versus 2. Sunny, you start to feel like it might be doable. However, you are in against Viper's pit. He's got a single grab net. Not full HP either.
There's the peek. No, not going to happen. Profit cleans it up. 6-2 the count.
Yep.
Not the worst news for DRX, but again, it just comes down to this problem position of once the site's been taken, the retakes have not really gotten off the ground. Yeah,
and looking on the minimap for that as well, for how that round sort of transpired, that could have gone a lot more poor for BBL if the DRX, if the fake on A didn't sell so well and DRX pulled 4 over, because you have a situation where BBL aren't working off info there. They're just kind of thinking, okay, well, we don't know what else is happening on the map. We're going to sell an extremely good fake over towards the A side, which, you know, you're going to drop all this utility on the A main side if you're DRX, which leaves Belt a lot more, Elbow rather, a lot more open. And suddenly you lose control of that. You're getting scared. You're putting a lot of members over towards A. And BBL just hoping that was what ended up happening, and that did end up happening, which gave them a free site over on the other side of the map.
Yeah, and it helps that Magnum finds 2. That's another part of the problem there, is that you get that angle and he converts on it. So, good stuff for BBL. Once again, just moving around the map pretty darn swiftly. Again, that early Aldrone at mid does create an issue for BBL, but you're right. The counter from their own Aldrone plants the defense, gives them a chance at numbers. And that's been good for them, and really a number of rounds at this point. Not just in first blood battles, but in 4v2s, they're not really faltering in those moments.
It is scary that it went down to a 2v1, though. And a somewhat winnable 2v1, potentially, as, you know, so should be, where the Freen got one of them. Unfortunately, missed the Annihilation, which could have ended up in potential further kill. Just the Viper's pit too hard to play into, but 2-6 now. BBL still really holding on to that 4-round lead that they've had for a few rounds in a row.
Paranoia cuts across the right side of B. Fast lane allows entry. Levin stuck not once but twice. Hyunmin for another. Relay bolt gives Levin a chance.
Oh,
there's the big slide across. Keep in mind that this is a limited purchase for DRX, and they're looking pretty flawless with a couple of weapons now collected.
That's just a complete shutdown. BBL wanted to speed up over towards B. I don't think they've done like a really super fast play at B yet. And yeah, classic Neon running into Trapwire. There's the Neon hard counter. No one there to assist. At least the relay bolt slowed things down a little bit. And now DRX, as the game slows down too, they're starting to pick up and close the gap.
Another important round for DRX. It's going to be a thrifty and a half-by win. Or 2 of their 3-round wins so far in this half. So again, it's like, that's great, but at the same time, our full purchase has to have a little bit more significance.
Sure.
We want to try to finish off this half on a better note.
Just hoping for a plant now as DRX is full abandoned B, but Trapwire is going to give info out, and then we'll just see how confident Yompi is, rather, in the final moments of this round. Or he could just be saving too, be honest with you.
I mean, the cash isn't terrible, but
you're not winning with 1v4, really.
58 HP, 1v4. Yeah, you don't need to force a plant because the cash is fine.
And you know you're not going to get hunted here because the other team's cash is still just average.
So I was just looking for a couple of consolation picks. But, okay, good stuff from DRX there, counteracting the quick play from BBL. Again, Trapwire's strong versus Neon. That's just another example of why Cypher gets played into Neon.
It's so cool seeing Hyunmin just slide on in, helping Bane there as well after Bane gets stunned up, which is the only thing stopping Bane from just getting that really fast pick onto Levin. Operator now on for Hyunmin. By the way, 12-8. First Blood Kingless guy. We saw versus Titan, or rather versus Sheelite, how often, just off-rip, Raga a couple times being shut down. And now, another top duelist on the opposing side. And Hyunmin all too happy to show that he can still be top dog in the server. No young gun's going to stop him today.
Playing back, looking for a shoulder pick right here. He's going to get an opportunity for it, but Levin relay bolt out. Caught by one of his own, but fast lane will actually provide a bit of space. Paranoia to follow. Gravnet locks this play in towards elbow, but 5v4 nonetheless. The barrier mesh instantly deleted. And DRX are going to have to try to fight this 5v3 on the A side if there's going to be a commitment.
This might end up... Oh, okay, well, I did not expect that, but I was going to say this could end very similar to what we saw with a massive sell over towards A, and then suddenly they're going to shift over towards B. DRX are reading this early. You already have Bane shifting over towards B, and you caught it. Massive TP into the back now from Profek. That's going to really make things awkward for DRX.
Yeah, I just don't know how you rotate around this if you're DRX. Going to walk down 1 through A main. hold hands on their way back through the defensive spawn to re-clear.
Watch for Marco.
He may have missed the timing just barely onto Sociable and the 2 members into Market. So now it's on to Bane, and he can't do anything, can't get his one.
Marco.
Spoke out. Now the threat is known. There'll be a plant, and with that, it'll be a bit of a staggered post-plant setup here.
That's really important for Marco to win that deal. Now over towards Market, another one, freeing and taking down Yompi.
Wow, we're just not catching any of that as Magnum comes across Hyun Min. Overdrive out, shut down by Magnum, an important another double kill for him. And now they know that Mako is playing from somewhere on the front side of this B site.
Oh.
Isolates onto the first. 1v1 situation, dark cover comes through. Magnum able to find him just before Mako gets into the cover. So 3 in the round for Magnum, another clutch moment for him. 7-3 goes BBL up.
Really tricky situation, another 2v1, but for BBL, this time they drop their first member. Profit falls. Magnum has to do what he does best to try and clean up that 1 versus 1, but yeah, unfortunately both players, too many angles to check. They couldn't play together as they would have liked to effectively trade off each other. That was pretty winnable for Marco. And DRX will be a little disappointed by how that round ends. But we talk about this 4-round gap, BBL consistently keeping that in the game.
Yeah, just a little back and forth here. You win one, we win one. Same grab net trap play over towards 8. Bested by the speed 11. Relay bolt to clear. It's a lot of elbow space given. This will be the first time we've seen DRX playing on top of the site. Little double stack up, comes through, flicker for the first and the second. He gets all 3. So that's a huge heroic play for the new guy into the mix for DRX and likely wins the round.
You got young talent on your team, or we got young talent on our team. DRX are happy to play through Flicker as he cleaned up MVP in his BO1. Hyun Min, speaking of cleaning up, that's going to be the first half. Nearly done for. DRX getting the 4th. Not really expecting Yumpy with just a judge.
And a flawless round. On top of that, okay, so let's tally the inventory here going into round 12. Really don't have much. Maybe an overdrive for 11 to be earned. Close to a Hunter's Fury for both players. And that's about it. So this is going to be one of those, again, whose playbook is bested for this, because flat out for BBL, the economy is not great.
Considering how this started, you see that 4-round lead, 1, 2, 3, and 4 right at the beginning. That's kept that 4-round gap going for the majority of this half, really. Now suddenly BBL find themselves on the few moments where they don't have money. It's been fast plays so far, and they want to, well, they've been conditioning DRX to these fast plays.
This is different, though. So you've got, again, DRX in a bit of trial at A. You saw the defense trying to back off B, but a trap wire falling at Markets keeps this split. Now for BBL, the question will be, with no fast lane, how do you want to try to break down either of these 2 sites?
I don't know if you saw that, by the way, but the drone, you had a situation where Levin could have killed the drone early. He actually backs out to main, allows the drone to see his entire team there, which sells a lot more, giving that mid-room for Social and the rest of BBL to play through, and they capitalize on that. That was really nice from Levin.
I just don't think you need to peek that if you're Hyun Min. You're in a spot where you're set in a 2-1-2 split up, and you've got a weapons advantage, and now all of a sudden things start to go the other direction, 4v2.
I think DRX believed that was just a full A committal. I don't think they realized how many members were still hiding over towards mid. And now suddenly BBL, good player advantage. Oh yeah, it's a free kill.
And the Hunter's Fury, that will land. Does he get the second? Sure does. Wow. And BBL will take the 8-4 half. Decent fight back for DRX there in the backside of the first half, but largely speaking, that was as comfortable as it gets for BBL.
It's just such a beautiful round being played by BBL there. I mean, they've conditioned these fast hits on every part of the map so many times, but particularly on that A side, to the point where it's like, if you are now expecting that a lot of these rounds, if you're DRX, and then the drone play, as I sort of mentioned, it's just a real tiny detail, and you only really get to see it on the minimap. The fact that Levin allows the drone to see his entire team to sell that even further. You talk about how does that mid kill come through? It comes through because DRX just, they were sold that, oh, the whole team's basically at A main. They're doing the same A main thing they've been doing the entire way. So yeah, let's start exploring a little bit. Human gets punished and suddenly numbers go BBL's way.
Yeah, that's a decision that I think Hyunmin's going to want to back, because you could just free rotate back through your spawn. You had the Omen watching in through mid. Plus there wasn't an impending attack onto A, but Trying to find something, create an opportunity with the operator, but nothing there. So 8-4 half. Swap the sides around here as DRX will have a chance on their offense, which has been their stronger half, at least over the course of this year.
And I would have said as well, if 5-7 finish with DRX would be a really nice recovery considering the first 4 rounds and how that situation went for them. I do believe, in memory serves correct, round 5 was even a thrifty win, no? So that was like, that was a really big round for DRX, but given that BBL held on again onto this 4-round lead, DRX just still feel like they're getting close to closing that gap and then just slipping every single time as they get near it.
Actually, I think 7 was the thrifty win. Regardless.
Yeah, there was one in there somewhere.
There was one in there, yeah. But the pistol's going to feel super important here for DRX to try to get this thing closer towards level footing. And we'll be interested, again, with this composition. First time we've seen Flicker in the roster. Does DRX want to play with that same style of aggression off their Neon?
They don't have the Cypher, so I think in terms of getting information and filling gaps, that's going to be worse for the team. They're going to have the extra Viper wall to play through, but you are lacking in a lot of these insane cam positions that you can get.
Yeah. Well, and the other side of this, too, is it should make Hyunmin feel like he's going to be a lot more free to make those opening engagements happen. Just pushing
no trap wire,
no trap wire, right?
Yeah, huge. Check out A.
Uh-oh. Okay, 1-for-1's not terrible there, but the defense has to back off. The only thing about this Viper that allows BBL maybe a little bit more freedom on site is that you can just pop the wall as soon as you hear the run.
Yep.
And that forces some respect to come through with the decay. Showcase there for a moment, but Hyunmin still with the connect under the headshot as the spike will be planted at B.
Yep. Well, Bane's going to join the team, 70 HP through main. Full retake coming through Boba. Market's clean as well. Look at this coverage. They have B main covered, Cypher util, Market covered, Deadlock util.
Clean. So now it's just down to can you win your gunfights on top of the site if you are DRX. Flicker on low health. Finds 2 somehow. And Profit will be finished. So once again, a moment where BBL is starting to gain a little bit of footing back onto the site, but Flicker shuts it down quickly. He's having another good map.
I mean, look how dirty that double sentinel setup can be. If you actually make it onto site, you can actually set up everything. Bane living there, winning in a situation where, you know, honestly, I saw a world where Dompy actually gets 2 kills. He landed a couple of initial shots under Bane, but just couldn't connect on the head. Imagine, I mean, that's a totally different round otherwise. And then you have this, but it's so much easier for Flick and the rest of the DRX knowing how much coverage you have. B main covered, Market covered, has to be Boba. Everyone's going to come through there. You're just lining them up like ducks.
Oh, yeah.
And the Flicker takes them all down.
Grab net avoided by Levin, but would have to take some extra special care re-clearing B main, but he's feeling saucy, so we'll step up and get that position in the name of BBL. Classics everywhere else on the map, though. DRX are looking to make a play over towards A. Lurk. Wow, 2 ships in the night.
Yep. Who's going to turn around first? Maybe none of them.
Matter. I mean, Levin's got the advantage here by slipping around the backside.
He's going to end up walking to trap wire, though. Yeah, Freeing's not got a lot to do here. In fact, there could be a situation where Freeing's like, B's clean, let's rotate, and then Levin's suddenly in a position to catch the rotators. But how much can he get?
He's going to get an opportunity here. There's the first, and uh-oh. Now the question, yeah, Levin's going to know, wait a second, I found Mako. There surely is a lurker somewhere. So this will throw a little bit of an alarm system to BBL, who know that there should either be an impending play through mid on this re-wrap back to B, or the defenders on A are about to be met with a lot of resistance.
There's all this info on B, but nothing else on the map here for DRX. And this is, this needs to be so good for DRX, Levin! My goodness!
Follow up though, the trade comes through, sociable at mid map. Splits things out, heard by Freeing. And the problem from everybody else here for BBL, outside of the impressive nature of Levin, is that it's still just classics. Magnum's able to find himself 1 rifle. Can Sociable, or pardon me, Profit get another? And yes, 2v2, weapons on both sides. Post-plant setup right here on top of the site. Magnum finds the first. Paranoia gonna cause some issue for Bane. 1v2, can he get outside the cyber cage and transfer? Oh, trying for it, but doesn't find the first nor the second. BBL get their 9th.
What an interesting round. I mean, yeah, okay, Levin popped off 3K in there, beautiful stuff, but that entire 2 players, B main, passing each other, neither of them got to see that info. And then the big question is, what does DRX do about this? You have this really huge flanking member of your Deadlock all the way on A, or B rather. Eventually they make the call to rotate. Just look, oh, this was so good. That really just gave the number advantage for BBL to be able to get this round back.
Yeah, that's the advantage of those two players passing by one another. As much as it's like, you got a guy through, we got a guy through. DRX are caught. Just not expecting that long flight to come through. Hero rifle for Hyunmin here in round 15. Everything else is pretty much standards you'd expect.
Just couldn't get freeing onto any sort of advantage and into a position where you can actually activate it for Magnum. Taking down that early hero rifle. This is falling to pieces already.
Yep. Should be a pretty comfortable round unless Mako can provide something Reddit-worthy. Hit by a bit of that snake bite. Chip damage is out. Sociable, Prophet, clean, through mid. Last one comes out.
Okay, not quite.
Not quite. Flicker. Let's see what you got here, kid. First one's good. No follow-up. 10-5, BBL in firm control.
Wow, extending that to a 5-round lead now. We talked about 4, how about 5? Bringing up one more. A second round, dude. Not winning your anti-eco. Really hurting for DRX. Hero rifle also didn't get much done. I understand, though, you know, put that hero rifle in the human's hands. He's been dominant. He's been keeping up. He's been winning. 15-13, the only double-digit member on DRX. The BBL just look like they are not going to be denied operator for 11 this time around.
I want to see DRX hit with some aggression here. There's nothing in the way of Hyunmin. Use your utility, get aggressive, take the site.
Suppose we haven't really had a super fast take before.
Wow.
Well, maybe a little too fast. Prophet, quick on the trigger.
Yeah, but the trades are decent. Levin's in some trouble, and yeah, just cannot read that. And why did this take so long if you're DRX with no Cypher in your way? So post-plant setup's going to look pretty comfortable. 4v3. Freeing, watching the flank, everyone else focused on the site.
And it's the double sentinel setup again. Link covered by, or at least partially, was by the mesh. Now they're going to walk on and drone to lead the way. A lot to clear through, though.
Yeah, Sociable will find the first. Surely they don't just brute force their way into this. GravNet will lock down one. Bane will punish. Sociable, the last one left. Annihilator's going to likely hit on the one. Now it just comes out to KD. Extra follow-up after the kill comes through. Stunned up. No, not able to finalize the kill. Gave himself a chance for the 1v2 isolation, but not to be in DRX get to 6.
Yeah, there was a whirl, but he gets stunned up at the end there. And unfortunately, not going their way. So DRX still keeping this competitive. You called it. Fast play. Change the pacing for DRX. Go towards a classic double sentinel plays. Barrier mesh into a link. Lock up alley with some traps. The rest should be pretty simple to play through. Marco really set things up for success on that initial take, though, because you know, losing human early doesn't look good, but Marco brought it back by 2.
Yeah, and that's just one of those shots for Prophet, who's nearsighted, that just, oh, that hit. Cool. Levin, op out. Nice shot. Takes Hyunmin's face off. And that actually stops the Owl drone from getting any more information onto site. So Levin will keep this angle held. And honestly, for DRX, I just don't know what you do here. You just take a little jump double peek, apparently. That's what you do.
He did not get to fire. There could have been a opportunity to kill 2. I saw the potential for the collat. He'll get taken down. Really nicely done by DRX to beat the operator.
No, the thing is, they still have this deep barrier mesh that's already in play. So can you force some of that early consideration for BBL to stay on A? It fades, as you call. And that will allow the defense to move around just a little bit more sociable. Leaning mid, everything else just kind of set up for Magnum to play on an island by himself.
This is still a really good post plan if you can get there. I mean, we're looking at Hunter's Fury. Freeing has an ult coming online as well.
Exactly where you are.
Just comes to be, can you actually get that done? Bane will get the reveal.
Is Magnum going to step up here? Looks like he wants to.
30 seconds left.
He's going to have to.
He's going to have to get 2. Only gets the first.
And guess
So
what?
now you got Bane on alert. You've got everyone else cutting act through mid for the post plant.
The players that you want alive are still there. Plant probably should have gone to Freeing if I'm going to be a little bit critical here. Flicker didn't need that.
Yeah.
But we'll see if that ends up impacting the round or not. Most important thing right now, okay, by the way, in Spawn, if Bane wins this, that's probably round.
Not quite able to. Actually misses every shot. Follow up, though. Prophet was completely hindered by the GravNet, so the 1v2 would have to come through for Sociable, and he's lost Flicker's timing.
I mean,
on to Freeing now.
The 2 ultimates just make it impossible.
Hunter's Fury going to pull him out. Sociable, GravNet down. Still has time if he can stick this. Freeing did get captured, but no, the toggle not going to work out. Freeing finishes, and now we're back to a 3-round deficit.
Yeah, I think Bane going down there was pretty huge, giving an opportunity. And that opportunity then ends up being acknowledged for the win. Just really considering that 1v2, so insanely hard to win with the double ultimates online from those two Sentinels.
Yeah.
Really acknowledging the early trade there as well. Operator, Levin gets one. In my mind, was good for at least one more, if not a collect to kill 3 there.
It's tight, was close, but not quite. Would have been impressive. BBL going to take a timeout, talk about this. Economy not looking all that strong as DRX has flipped things around a touch here. And again, it's just, you know, same story. We're just not seeing the Neon find as much value as you would have expected, but doesn't seem to make a difference late into these rounds. DRX are making the right mid-round adjustments.
We'll see what we get out of this timeout. Human has still been in position of frag despite a couple times that's not gone his way. Obviously, you weren't too pleased about one of the rounds where he sort of walked out into mid and kind of just got fragged. We are also seeing speed ups now, DRX changing pace a little bit. His post plants are strong though. I mean, that is going to be the strong point, assuming you can get the right players alive. That round was still pretty tight considering the 1 versus 2, well, before that, I mean, when more numbers were still available and you don't quite have full B main control, but
yeah.
7 and 10 now, we've closed the gap a little bit.
Should be 8 here too for what it's worth. Just the Judge, Frenzy, Stinger.
Well, they want this round.
Yeah, especially the Viper's Pit being called. It does set yourself up to possibly get this. A bit of a choke point battle. None of that heavier, quote-unquote, weaponry is here, though. It's just a grab net. That'll get called. Fast line up, keeps things safe. Messy here with the Annihilation being called. That gets instantly countered. DRX stay alive, taking lots of chunk damage, though.
Ooh, Levin.
And Levin tries to finesse something. Doesn't really work out. Everyone stays alive, if only barely.
I don't even know how he got out of that without taking any damage at all. He just slides on in, gets revealed, and a lot of shock darts being traded here. Human did get hit by one of those. Now response.
Oh, and eventually the spam through the smoke gives an advantage over to DRX. Viper's Pit still in the way at A, but a chance to do what Bane is doing, which is try to find another angle of approach. Has the weapon advantage at mid. He's got Yampi in his way at market, and they may wait for that as the door comes closed. So
that's big.
Now it's just down to if BBL can get the info and maybe try to stop the door here with this Judge. Prophet in trouble, trying to spam. Timing beat by Hyunmin. Trade from Flicker good. DRX firm control on B.
Just waiting for those grab nets to come back online, sliding on through, overpowering them with superior weaponry. Even mid still in position for DRX to have control as well. Bane, 1v1 coming through. And Magnum doesn't even have the weapon out in time. So, yeah, that'll be it. 2-round gap now, DRX. Slowly but surely on this attacking side, closing that gap.
Yeah, somehow, some way, right? I mean, it just hasn't happened in the way that you would have figured. This full gun round is an important one, though. DRX take this, and if they can do it in a way that continues to cause headaches to BBL, the dynamic of this entire map has completely changed. So this one feels pretty critical for BBL just to try to stop DRX's momentum. I think in particular because they haven't even needed the Neon to open the doors for him.
It's a story of the attacking sides, but right now on BBL's defense, big walk down in mid.
Oh, there it is. Hunter's Fury. Sidestep by Hyunmin as he's able to still find one at through mid. You get another teleport for Mako to clear out the backside at B, and DRX is going to have a 5v4 post plant where BBL need to make a decision here. This double flank around the back has a lot of stuff in its way.
And it will be revealed shortly. There's a lot of stuff in the front as well. There's a lot of stuff really all over the map, and that's the real problem here.
Good snake bite. Flicker taken care of. Relay bolt comes through. Do they check the corner? They do. The Bane still.
He's stunned. What?
That doesn't matter. It's an aesthetic ability. He's able to find both headshots. Hyunmin follows up. And now it's just down to Yampi. 1v3, and he has to save with the economy in tatters for BBL.
Bane just got away with murder there. BBL, they even checked it. They were thinking, we need to check this. There's probably someone there, and they lose that to Bane. Unbelievable. Winning that situation is going to give DRX 9. And this was the gun round. They're going to save one rifle. And how keen right now of DRX, probably not going to chase this one. They're just going to run towards spawn. But Yeah, I mean, second time we're seeing BBL on this half thing save, so really is the story of the attacking sides, and BBL wanted to do something different this round. They went down pretty aggressive in mid, lost one to Hyunmin, thought they could have caught Cat, thought they had the catch on Hyunmin.
They did.
Not the case.
I mean,
Neon doing Neon things.
Yeah, they also had Flicker stunned in the corner. Doesn't matter. Or Bane rather, stunned in the corner. Doesn't matter. It's just an aesthetic ability. So this is looking like it's going to get to a 10-10 tie.
Go, go, go.
Don't want to rule out BBL with a hero rifle and a judge, though, especially in the hands of Profik, who is playing at elbow.
It's not a hero rifle on Levin or even Profik, though. Yumpy, with full respect, unfortunately, he's not really. There it is. He gives the rifle. I was going to say he hasn't been putting up the numbers like some of the other members on his team has today. So see what Levin can do with this one.
That quick take should lead to a full post plan. BBL trying to challenge. Really no reason not to. Yampy creates an opportunity for 2, but there's the follow-up. Leaves Profik by himself. 1v3 technically as he's upgraded the judge into a Phantom.
Yeah, Bane won that 1v1 against the hero rifle of Levin in mid, and this one I'll give Profik the opportunity. Still got some reasonable util online to play through as well. Winnable 1v2. Lack of util on the DRX side, and the 2 players on DRX are pretty split as well.
Yeah, I don't know if Profik saw any part of Hyun Min right there, but doesn't make a difference. Swings it out in the backside of the site for an easy headshot.
Yep.
We're tied at 10. BBL staggering on this defense right now, and again, it's just not in the same ways you would have figured. Like, Hyun Min's having a good map, but outside of a couple of the rounds that they've been able to fast lane and paranoia and get on to B, I'm surprised we haven't seen aggressive A hits come out more often from DRX.
These post plants are just so hard for BBL as well. This is 5 rounds in a row. And we were thinking earlier on, if you look at 13, 14, 15, pistol going away DRX, and then suddenly BBL bring it back and just win that second round and a half. And it's like, okay, now we're back on a struggle streak for DRX, but the last 5 have just been good.
There's the one-way smoke, relay bolt out. That clears out the backside of Link. Yampy in the corner in an untradeable spot initially, and Yampy is able to find 2. Plenty of damage done to Sociables, getting the workout over towards elbow.
Yeah.
And that will leave it down to the new guy, 1v3.
I gotta tell you, I gotta call it Yumpy a little bit more, because when I did that, he just fired up. He absolutely got in that server. I said, you know what, maybe give the rifle to Levin. Levin died in that 1v1, but Yumpy, a couple rounds now, has stood tall in these situations where he needs to get a couple kills. This time, playing off the Sonic. The stun delivers.
See if there's any magic here for Flicker. Plenty of time and the spike to play with. Might get a nice little 1v1 here.
Does he turn around?
Nope. Levin will snap connect and BBL back up, but only by a small margin. 11-10. Economy still fine for DRX.
Yep. Good round for BBL to break the cycle. 5 in a row. You wouldn't want that to be 6 if you're BBL, but for DRX, it has been a game of catch-up for them as we go to the DRX timeout now. I want to make sure that any semblance of, let's just say, comeback for this half is shut down right away. BBL win 1 after dropping 5. DRX want to shut that down and make sure that it goes back to DRX, and it is just that 1 and not more.
See what the call is going to look like here for DRX. After really, the execute through A main looked solid. It's just getting utility on the site itself doesn't come through there on that last take. A lot of it thrown over towards that A link at main, not really onto the site itself. And obviously, Yampy's able to punish it with the 2 kills that he finds and essentially wins the round after that point. So again, the layering maybe not as convincing as you'd like to see from DRX with the new guy in, but we'll see if they can find an adjustment here.
We talk about punishing Neons as well. Okay, you don't have a Cypher, but guess what? Sonic, since that you get that stun down, Neon trying to run through, that is still a way to punish.
It's fair.
And so when that comes through, BBL happy with it.
Just not as much of a guarantee,
The
right?
op was also revealed by Levin in that previous round, so information for DRX to play against in terms of understanding where that could show up on the map. Which has, by the way, been pretty rare on this side for BBL, given how many rounds they've lost. This will be the second time we've seen Levin on the op. Unfortunately, no customers right away.
Yeah, at least not over towards A main. It's a full focused hit up their mid. Recon bolt out. Relay bolt out after that. And Hyun Min is able to isolate for a 1v1. The Viper able to tally 1 by way of Snake Pit. And a follow-up is Magnum's going to go to aggressive.
Oh, Social
making the call that they're trying to rotate through market, so help was very swiftly on the way. DRX will still get control of B, and at least enough for a plant. Annihilation queued, Sociable costs, and he's able to find a connection. No way for Bane to help out, and that will be map point now for BBL.
Yeah, it's a sad little fly through across the map for Flicker. Brilliant stuff from Sociable rather for 3 in that round actually after the Annihilation comes on through. Levin didn't get to see a lick of action, but we'll get the free defuse at the end to work over towards the overdrive, and now map point for BBL.
Match point.
As that DRX tactical pause did not deliver them one round back towards them, and unfortunately gave one to BBL after a 1-to-1 trade. Human going down, but unfortunately the rest all going BBL's way after that 1-to-1.
So you're going to have overdrive here for Hyun Min with a stinger. Hunter's Fury at the ready, plus a neural theft for DRX. Levin close to an overdrive of his own. Hunter's Fury also one away for Yampi, but just kind of tallying that ultimate resource bank. And DRX going to show force at A, but it's all but a fake. At least an initial early show of pressure, no commitment, but the early walk down for Magnum is different and fresh for BBL.
Yeah, not something they've done just yet. BBL have certainly not, outside of that massive walk down with multiple players earlier on in the half. This is the first significant solo walk down that we've seen. And with this, look at the information given, huge rotations.
Oh, missed opportunity though for Profit. Finger guns out for Hyun Min, playing scaled in the sight. Owl drone out. There's the shock, there's the reveal. Stinger will work, plus the follow-up from Bane.
Brilliant stuff.
So DRX looking good to get their 11th. 11 is stuck right now at market.
Stinger not upgraded just yet, can't quite reach a weapon, but that aside, I think Human's done more than he needed to. And now you have an operator to the retake. Would love to have an overdrive here if you're 11, but not on the cards. Unless he gets something here, time is just running out, man.
Yeah, that's the biggest part about it, and as he's shut down, Magnum is the last one left, and he will also meet his fate. So DRX one away from sending this thing to OT. Plenty of considerations. You know, as much as BBL has a nice bounce back after the timeout, BBL still, relatively speaking, struggling in the full versus full purchase rounds on this defensive side.
I'm about to go to a potential second OT for BBL specifically, given they went to OT against Sentinels, which they did win eventually, but this is almost the opposite of the Sentinels game, where you start 6-6 for BBL and Sentinels in the first half, and then BBL get that insane 5-round streak on their second half before Sentinels start to catch on up. This time around, the first half dominant for BBL, second half a lot closer in DRX, really threatening this OT, especially with that kill.
Yeah, that's on that walk down for Magnum again. Annihilation out, doesn't really need it, rather, I should say, as Profit is found immediately before it actually connects. Yampi just trying to contest wherever he can, but for BBL, they are stuck inside of the backside of B. Crossfire setup for DRX is 3 members wide. Good shock dart onto Hyun Min.
Good reveal.
But damage is only part of the problem here, as you have to find a way to retake. Here comes Levin, try to get things done. Does have the overdrive out and available. Recon bolt deleted.
Oh!
Able to find one, but freeing on the crossfire setup is good. Trades back and forth, leaving it down to Sociable for what would have to be a 1v4 in technicality. And a defuse. And if you can't take it by the candor in my voice, the hopes are not high that he's going to find this one.
He just doesn't know where the members are. I mean, he's going to have to assume B main for sure, but I don't think he realized where Marco is, so this is just a little bit too difficult needed. One more play to still be alive. No time here. OT's coming in. And no issues for Flicker. Young gun for DRX, showing what he's made of.
Wow. This is big. I mean, for DRX, after the opening first half looked as miserable as it did, until that little bit of a back and forth that finished off the half, DRX pull this one away from BBL on their map pick, a map that we have not really seen a lot of film on. Then you're going into an Ascent where you have been really good on. Dangerous prospects.
It's that 16 to 20 spree of rounds you see from DRX that really made the difference here. And a human operator on the defense this time around. Now, if you remember, BBL's attacking side, very fast, super quick hits. Don't care about the double sentinel defense here. See if that ends up being the play again.
Yep. I mean, the defensive side is the question mark here. Hyunmin's going to play something different with a glass cannon Operator in the overtime. Quick play from Levin, shut down. Barrier mesh, make sure there's no follow-up. So big advantage here for DRX early on the defensive side, 5v4. Barrier mesh getting shot at to be deleted. Profit on the same front gets in the backside at A main to find a trade. And now that isolates DRX's defense on the site.
Yeah, I mean, look at Elbow as well. In play, Yompi onto freeing. Barrier mesh to cut off in towards alley. That's finally going to clean up on all members of A. Looking pretty clean now for the plant. Human drops the operator, obviously. Gonna walk back in. Rifle in hand, but only 2.
Exactly, and there's no armor here for Hyun Min either. Can he open with something cleanly?
Recon's up.
Deleted. Yompi finds one, grab net, has him locked in place, and why not pop the Hunter's Fear, I suppose? BBL bounce back after dropping the first blood and take the 4v5.
Yeah, the timing was insane there for BBL. Both the GravNet and also Recon coming up just as the final 2 members of DRX trying to come on through. And what a big game from Hyunmin as well, pulling his team through. It was actually sociable on the other side at 25. We talked about early on in that first half, he was already starting to lead in the stat department, and here, not shy about leading the way for the team. Would be BBL's second OT win up against a top performer globally. If they can take this one through. But their attacking side has been, well, the defensive side of BBL has been a little bit worse for wear.
Yeah, both teams. That's been the issue. First blood to the defense. That's also through tiles. Quick aggression for BBL again, but reinforced this time. Magnum going to have to back off and try to play. This is a really good dark cover to slow down what looked to be an impending hit into B. There's also really no way for DRX to re-clear mid of them with that barrier mesh in the way.
Yep. DRX going quiet, trying to draw rotators over, which successfully they have been able to do. This is part of the issue, is they being BBL, because they lack the Cypher, they lack the extra utility check, these gaps. They just don't know what's happening on the A side. So off running is going to be Yompi. 1v1.
Yompi's walk down. Barrier mesh will fade, but draws the line in the sand, but catches Bane. That has to be DRX hitting the execute call now. Dark cover just has to be pushed through. GravNet in the way, but the fast lane gives a little bit of space to work with. Sociable for one. Profit follows up, and a follow there as BBL will win the defense, win it in overtime in 2 straight rounds, and take map number 1.
Yeah, doesn't matter who their competition is. BBL are here to play another 14-12 win against an international top dog. Sentinels was first, DRX is next, but this time around, it is a BO3, which means BBL have to do this again.
Yeah, and I think, you look at this in the state.
Sentinels going through his jet, 30 bomb versus Sentinels against Zeka. That you got to look out for.
He's got his work cut out for him with Hyun Min, one of the best jets that we do have in VCT Pacific. But let's get into Ascent. Once again, it's going to be Avril and Shift to take you through all the action.
It should be a fresh slate for both these 2 teams. We'll take a look. Yep, no Teho here. Vice will be pulled out for DRX.
Ooh,
Chamber Vice on the other side for BBL with the Yoru. So again, rocking double senties in certain regards. It's just the difference of duelist at the moment as freeing Mako. First 2 kills come their way. Yompi able to hold the front line at A main. Paranoia cuts across the site. Shock Dart to follow. That will work out for an elimination. Door shuts on the play. A little bit more spam through, but Yompi only finds so much, and freeing can plant.
Saving the life there. It's going to be the door coming down just in time despite the scan coming through. Still trades going back and forth here.
Sound sensor up.
2 alive. See what BBL can do with Sociable and Magnum.
Low health pool for Magnum in particular. There's the drop down. You obviously hear this, but Sociable has all the shots fresh to go with the Headhunter. Razorvine out. Freeing still holding into the corner. Backs up. Easy headshot for the 3rd. Magnum now left by himself. And Freeing's going to have an opportunity to catch 4 and will. Good start for DRX.
That was the biggest celebration shot I've heard from DRX all series so far. That one meant a lot. Gonna have 4K. Bring you a decent amount of confidence for Freeing now and DRX to start things off, considering they were trailing in the last map. This time around, they want to be the ones in control. The BBL, I mean, even look at this comp a little bit. It's not going to be the Jet, it's going to be Levin on the Yoru. You've also got a double Senti look here as well with the Chamber. So as we move away from Teo, it is a very different type of composition for the BBL side, whereas moving on for DRX really is just shifting the Teo out for the Sova. Everything else looking pretty similar to how they used to play.
Yeah, and just one of those things, like, you look at how these double Sentinels are going to play, they're going to be very differently set up, although hold that thought as we're going to have early contact here through Market at the B sidewalk. Barrier mesh causing an issue. That's the first issue you talk about when the deadlock's in play. How do you get through that when it cuts off the site? The second issue is how do you get back onto the site without having the same kind of initiator presence that we're used to seeing?
Walk past you got to walk past a shear going in through from B main, but it's going to be a very incredible angle. And Bane is just not going to be able to do anything about it, which also eliminates the shear, which is an issue.
Exactly. I was about to say, that's one way of dealing with the shear. You deal with the agent that provides it. Flicker in the corner. Going for a recon dart here. I say aggression's right at the front door. The Bolt does get one reveal before being destroyed. Paranoia going to allow BBL to try to step up with these classics, but no, shut down on the choke points. Judge too strong. As Levin will find a consolation kill and a second before DRX clean up the anti-eco.
Yeah, making it slightly more expensive for DRX's anti-eco, but nonetheless, easy plant on towards B, drop down a bunch of Sentinel util. And what is a double Senti look for both teams, interestingly enough. Not as standard as you would have imagined for a map like Ascent, but here we are.
I think the map, though, is like, it's molding towards that. Just due to the fact that, again, the deadlock separation is key. The thing that was new is the chamber. Like, we just, especially in the North American
lack of Killjoy here as well, I think.
Yeah, that's the other part. You know, or Cypher. That's the other one that you often see. But yeah, it's very different ideas for how this map wants to be played for both these two teams without the Tehill in the mix. Annihilation early earned does find a capture on the site. That's the Yoru who's currently in the cocoon. Mako pushing out. BBL not able to save Levin, although he does find one in some form.
Oh!
Through the smoke before the door closes. The Judge connects. DRX should be good plant.
Yep. And all Magnum can do is watch as he waits for the rest of his teammates to come through and at least delete the barrier mesh. But see what Sociable can do about this one. Reminder, this is the first gun round so far for BBL. And already in a tough spot. Look how concerned Yompi is with the potential flank as well. I think Yompi might have a kill here onto Marco if he gets in there quickly enough.
Saw him on that rotation through the dark cover. May not make much of a difference. The time is running out in this retake. Magnum able to find Mako eventually to the 3v3. But again, the clock, maybe the biggest enemy here. BBL able to jump back on over. Good. Sensor is free and gets the Frenzy to work out. Grab that to stop Sociable. Can Yompi find Bim? Yeah, sure can. And how about that? BBL clock against them. Find the kills, and honestly, you look at DRX and say, what was that?
I think there was just a slight mistiming there. Marco looking for a little bit more on that Judge. Opening kill into Profit is nice. I mean, they had a decent player advantage to work through here as well, but once that real retake sort of happened, Sociable coming up large with two, and I didn't even see Yompi drop in the recon until quite late after they walked onto site. Still ends up working out for Yompi. Again, lacked in the kill department a little bit earlier on Sunset, but heated up quite a bit on that second half and now continues that as we head into Ascent round number 4.
Full guns on both sides. Full grab net set play doesn't really work out for too much. Dark cover to try to control the front side at A. Human trying to work his way in, but again, everything's stopped by the Razor Vine. Levin for 2. The teleport onto site though by Mako goes completely unnoticed. He's good for his one. Flicker follows up for the trade, but they've lost Levin. At least initially they have. Flicker will get a read off of that flash. And they're just going to sit, wait, and see if Bane can join the action on A.
He knows where Levin is. By the way, Levin used Dimensional Drift to push all the way into A main, but while he does that, he leaves the rest of his team. Pray for DRX to take down as it's going to be Bane joining Flicker here. Just Sociable really to deal with as...
Last player standing.
Well, Sociable is too much to deal with, maybe.
Nice. That'll work. Yeah, just kind of a mess at the front door. That's the power of the Vice, though. You smoke it, you Razor Vine it, you throw some deadlock utility at it to try to counter, but it doesn't really work out all that well for DRX. And it's just, again, just ships in the night. You know, the teleport onto site, the dimensional drift on the other side, everyone just gets a little bit lost.
I mean, this is going to be a potentially quite rough attack side for both teams, considering it's double Senti on defense and double Senti on attack. So, whichever team sort of strings together a decent number of attacking rounds might find themselves in the driver's seat in the series, if not winning it outright if you're BBL on this map. Potential walk down and B. Just tuck away for Levin right now.
Min able to step out, get the orb. That's enough for Knives, which you figure he's going to want to use here in this round with Sheriffs and a Stinger for the rest of his squad. not a lot of push-up or really a feel-out towards B main, so Levin's feeling pretty comfortable for the time being.
Mid's completely taken over from BBL as well.
Yeah.
So DRX at this stage, I mean, is Sociable going to walk on further forward? Levin certainly is. They both will.
Well, Hyunmin on a pogo stick, able to find the trade, looking for more. Has Sociable in his sights, and that'll work out. But the follow-up from BBL is clean as Magnum takes down 2 with that mid pressure you were exclaiming about.
Just 2 members walking down mid. Catwalk taken by Magnum, and BBL happy to just completely explore the map and take over. DRX had no idea that they just lost that much control of the map, and then suddenly BBL activated at the right time. Bring us to a 3-2 here. Very competitive back and forth instead of this super one-sided start that we got on Sunset.
Yeah, and the other issue there for DRX is you don't have the ability of contesting mid because it is pistol upgrades and knives. So a vulnerability and just the weaponry that you can bring to the table as we're going to get our first tour de force. Paranoia immediately to Levin's direction. Revealed and has to use the gate crash to get back to safety. Razorvine to stall a little bit longer, but a shot from Hyunmin trades off the first blood as Mako committed to his teleport backside of B. Levin now stepping up off that gate crash teleport. Once again goes 1 for 1. Paranoia for Profit. Going to try to get him into a position to teleport on to help his teammate in Yampi, but BBL in some trouble here. The double drop down. Yampi finding 1. Flicker trying to find the wide swing. Not going to work out. Now Yampi backside of the sight's going to get 4 as BBL take their 4th round.
Is that his second 4K as well? Yampi has really come alive. Unbelievable stuff. When we talk about Profek on this team, Levin obviously, but my goodness, 8-2 already. And this guy didn't have any help backside of B. He was completely caught out. You're thinking he's dead to right. Surely nothing's going to happen here. This opening pick from Hyunmin, by the way, is disgusting. He beats out the tour de force and just snaps onto the chamber. But then Yampi just staying alive here. Unbelievable stuff.
It's the first one for me. I mean, as the double drop down, you get a headshot just on the corner of the wall with a little flick. But that swings the economy favor. Back to BBL once again. DRX on a half buy. Looking possibly just for a quick burst play into A. You've got, again, double Razorvine, or Arc Rose Razorvine combination at the front doors. Dark cover comes in. Now an opportunity for BBL to try to break down this hit. And how about Profik and Magnum just saying, come on into our web. We're spinning it through the Annihilation, causing a bit of an issue, but a mere inconvenience is more what it feels like as Freeing is stuck outside of A, and they're just going to run him down. 4 in the round for Profik.
No guns for DRX here. BBL say that's no problem for us. The Annihilation was the only positive to talk about there for DRX. 5-2 now. And talk about it being a back and forth, but now suddenly BBL once again trying to get that 4-round lead that they had in the early moments of Sunset. So a lot of ultimates in their pockets as well. Just a Profik and Magnum show in this particular round to stop any aggression coming through from main.
Yeah, that's just the power of Vice right there. You've got the Arc Rose as a delayed reactionary flash. You've got the Razorvines to stop things in its place. It's just too much control coming through. Steel Garden at the ready for Magnum. 1 away is Bane from having the same. Yampi also for the defensive side has the Hunter's Fury, but same can be told for Flicker as we get into round 8.
Sociable opping from mid, and that's going to be the early Hunter's Fury coming through. Too easy for Yampi as Marco falls.
BBL with the numbers. Oh, just a stray shot connects onto Hyunmin just to make matters a little bit worse. Again, the Razorvine playing on the right side of A. The Arc Rose still keeping the tree position safe for BBL. And honestly, if you're DRX, you've got no control in Mako right now. You don't have the ability to flash Hyunmin in. I just don't know how you opened up the site unless you use Hunter's Fury to do it.
You fully lost mid here again as well. And so forget about that. Just straight over towards A.
Razorvine
diving into his own smoke, but punished by Profik very fast.
Yeah, if you're going to commit for any sort of a way to fight back into this, I think if you're DRX, the only real option is to use the Hunter's Fury to clear off one part of the site. They just try to dive into a Razorvine.
The problem is these rounds are just getting really dirty, and DRX is they're falling apart. We're not looking at close rounds for DRX anymore. We're just looking at them being completely shut out of sights. And you talk about it, Vice is going to be a problem to run into. It's the double Sentinels that are just going to be problematic, and you are running double Sentinel yourself. So at this point, I mentioned earlier, how many rounds can you get on this attacking side for you to feel comfortable so that then you have enough buffer to play through that you can suddenly get your double Senti online for your defensive side? because I think it is going to be the game of winning on defense by how much.
And that's been the case, I think, with the Teo and Nerves that have come through this map. Even with Teo, it still felt very defensively sided. And that it will continue to be the case, at least here early.
Quick one in here is that Sociable did lose his op in the previous round, so there's at least one bit of economy damage done, but yeah, I'm seeing like 8.4k on Yompi here from how many kills he's there, so yeah, the money is all good as DRX. No surprises, looking at their timeout first for the map, and given how that last round went, yeah, I mean...
It's just, this map becomes extremely difficult to figure out from the offensive lens because there is no pulling the defense around when Sentinels can just drop utility at the beginning of the round and say, there it is for the entirety of it, like Razor Vines and Arc Roses. Very difficult to counter. It's not the same as like a Cypher Trap. Other side of things over towards B, like if you run into a deadlock setup, well, eventually, how do you deal with things like the sensors? How do you deal with things like the barrier mesh? Now it's just the chamber, so it's like interesting that DRX continue to find themselves like diving in towards the Vice instead of trying to maybe play for a little bit more B main control. See if you can kind of avoid a little bit of that. Maybe try to put some pressure on BBL to like commit a number member over towards B, but so far it's just been DRX just kind of head bashing A.
They also maybe have to be a little bit concerned about the operator, but we're just seeing a lack of control mid as well, multiple rounds I've seen now.
It's the operator
DRX just like they've completely given up mid, and mid has just been a winning position for BBL, but at minimum you'd think play through some smokes, cut off angles for Sociable, and then at least have some presence there. But you're also seeing Magnum multiple rounds. He's happy to just play catwalk.
Grab that in the corner. Again, DRX are showing us something here off these breakoffs that would lead you to believe that they feel like there's someone to challenge in this A main push. That's not the case. Now we got the Steel Garden out though. Recon Bolt will clear out Heaven. Should be a free take here for DRX unless Magnum has something to say about it. Prophet trying to work his way back into the picture. Weird teleport, but stays alive. Little worse for wear on the initial, but goes 1-for-1. Now you have BBL with the Aldrum through tree, trying to set up the retake from that position. They're able to get one from Levin. Magnum does fall though.
Oh, Flicker.
Yeah, living up to the name. Goes from one to the other, and DRX will have a plant and the numbers.
Yeah, he's got Hunter's Fury here as well, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to play off-site. He's going to be in hell for now, droning through. And what can Sociable do with this?
Has to hit this. Do you check this
the
tight
barrel?
corner?
He's already revealed himself.
Yeah.
Because the barrel on that up is just so long. Freeing knows, as the name suggests, it's going to be a freebie, and finally DRX get on site. They get a round win. They get past the Razor Vine. I believe it was a shock dart that deleted that earlier on, which means you only have to really worry about that Arc Rose, and suddenly your on-site flicker goes large, and you're good to go. Doesn't even have to use Hunter's Fury. Good stuff.
Yeah. A little bit of a tempo change may lead to some minor adjustments for BBL, whether that's where the Razor Vine is placed, which is the case here, or what you want to do in terms of the personnel, especially considering that the operator can still be afforded. Again, that's going to be used at mid, as you'd often expect.
Yeah. Was also a Steel Garden round as well, which
good point.
Gives DRX a little bit more to play through, rather than just running into rifles and kind of destroyed in A main.
Shock darts out again. Does delete the Razor Vines again. Hunter's Fury ready for Flicker. How do you commit to if you're DRX onto A this time? Do you spend the Hunter's Fury to try to clear out some of the site? You know that BBL has been heavy stacked at tree.
So the least amount of mid that BBL have played in a couple of rounds. Does Prophet really want to do this?
No, just checking off the top of his dark cover. Oh, he slips into the corner. Levin gets one up top at Hell. Now you've got Prophet to find his one. But Mako clears tree. That's a nice area to work with, especially with Flicker holding onto a Hunter's Fury, but someone's got to come and collect this spike.
They know Levin's close. Dimensional Drift is going to be there as well. Barrier Mesh to lock out on short. But yeah, they still need a plant. That hasn't happened yet.
Well, there's the Dimensional Drift. Mako will be pinged out. And you're going to read that. Yep, there's your Sova.
30 seconds left.
Levin shut down. Huge pick from Flicker. And Bane's going to be allowed to plant.
And
so now the Hunter's Fury can come through. Mako gets one. If Bane can get one as well, that will obviously win the round. But just to kind of get a little bit of damage, it would be nice as Flicker is still playing deep. Troubling position here for Yompi. Shock dart over towards main. On site. Opening shots. Evenly exchanged. Yompi on the white peak. Bane punishes, and DRX able to get us this a little bit closer to tied.
And Flicker ready to swing just in case it goes wrong, but you see the shot coming through from Yumpy, position revealed. Hunter's Fury, just in case things go even worse. Really big round from DRX. And that's considering the fact that Prophet got himself into wine, and what a brilliant position,
Correct,
completely
yeah.
unmarked, and came through for at least one massive kill there. Really thought BBL were going to get a lot more done. I think one of the pivotal kills was Levin popping Dimensional Drift, putting himself into wine, then just losing the 1 versus 1.
Yeah. Really good call there. So now, all of a sudden, after what had been a defensive, dominated first half, DRX have changed the narrative with a couple of rounds in a row, and it puts a little bit more pressure onto BBL to try to clean things up, and their economy is a little bit more broken here because of the 2 forces on the operator in the last couple of rounds. So what do they have to afford here? I don't even know if they have enough for a full purchase. So you have to kind of make a decision on the financial side of things, like, do we want to actually purchase here and see if we can maybe steal something away, or do we just save to play for the final round of the half?
DRX have also played B multiple times now. They've conditioned this one, so where do we find ourselves in the following rounds where, or A rather, B hasn't been explored for a while, mid hasn't been explored for a while, multiple A finishes. Still though, look at those 6 rounds in the middle there, 3 through 8. Really huge for BBL.
It's still a chance for DRX to tie the half, considering
I know.
That's huge. Into a weakened weaponry, DRX are looking at B main. Early pop flash doesn't really say much. And this weapon of Sociable will stay relatively safe, but good. Grabbed out into the corner, has Sociable locked down.
It's a big reveal.
Reveal from Yumpy is decent. Shock Dart's finding some chunk damage. May lead to something with these Sheriffs, but another spray down from Hyunmin. Has a 5v3, make it now a 4v3. 4v1 rather, I should say, as the rest of the kills come through quickly. And there it is, a clean polish for DRX. Back to within 1.
Clean grab net there to secure the kill onto the Chamber of Sociable. And DRX likely to finish this one 6-6 now, unless BBL's final gun round has anything to say about it. Look at the string of ultimates online for DRX.
Yeah.
And it's going to be quite a lot to play through, lack of which for BBL. And as I said during that pause as well, haven't seen B in a while from DRX, and they decided that was around to pull it through.
Yeah, against the weakened weaponry, that makes complete sense. But different show here. Early paranoia at B main and a deep dark cover trying to put some pressure onto B. It's going to force the Vice back. Knives out for Hyunmin. Look at the quick play there from Sociable. They get Mako at the commitment off of his from the shadows. But Sociable gets caught looking the wrong way. That may have been a round-winning kill if you could find it. And DRX will have vacancy to set up their 4v4 post plant with 2 big ultimates available for them.
Yeah, Mako full committed that one, pulling BBL over. Now suddenly, it's a free site, free plant. Good opportunity though, Hyunmin still good for 1.
Oh, Bane though, backside towards A main. Critical to find Profit. You still have freeing with the Annihilation. Can he find the bank shot if they toggle the spike? Flash is on the way out, and yeah, they do bait it out pretty darn nicely to the 1v1. Levin versus Bane in the corner. They know he's playing over towards the corner, but Bane finds the shot, and DRX gonna get to 6-6 through the half.
Wow, what a brilliant finish there. Both players hiding in main. Annihilation to remove one player in the last 1 versus 2. And just clean shots, Levin. We've seen how good he has been in the last 2 maps. 1 in the series, 1 versus Sentinels, but so far this Yoru hasn't been winning a couple of these 1v1 situations. It's a step away from what he usually plays on this map, which would have been the Jet. And a 6-6 where you have to start discussing the fact that for both teams, defense is where they need to succeed.
Correct.
But DRX gets 6 on their attacking side. So is this enough defensive rounds for BBL, considering that they're going to be on the attack now, double Senti into double Senti?
Yeah, we're going to find out pretty darn quickly, because again, this is the first time we've seen both these 2 teams post Tejo nerfs. So what do you have cooked up if you're BBL, having not played this map since mid-May? That was the big storyline we talked with Mitch as we set this map up after map number 1. Whereas for DRX, I mean, same could be said. They haven't played it since mid-May, but very well rehearsed on it, without question. And before the nerfs, 76% defensive win rate for them. So You got to figure these boys know what they're doing on this side of the map.
It's also a change in style. I mean, we talked about this on the desk, but triple initiator for BBL previously on this map. So they're moving away from their comp in a large way. And now we need to start seeing if they can pull together something on this offense. Despite me saying Levin might have had a quiet one, actually still at the top of the leaderboard right now, sitting right next to Yompi. And you'd imagine maybe you're in the attacking side could be what Levin needs to pop off again and lead BBL to victory. Or it's going to be DRX bringing us to Haven.
And it's going to be down to how do they want to set Levin up, especially considering that the chamber is just an extra rifle or weapon a lot of the time. You know, obviously the Tour de Force brings a certain level of prestige with it, but we'll see what that looks like for BBL on the offensive side, because it does feel like this is a lot of get Levin into position. DRX looking for a quick push in towards B main, largely shut down as Bane takes a lot of damage. And meanwhile, mid-map is wide open. So BBL will say thank you very much. They'll have Sociable pushed and scaled deep into position as they try to catch the rotation on the defense.
Yeah, just drop him off and then shift over towards A side. Now you're up Cat, forcing Freeing to move away and address that issue. Might be able to find a timing here as well. Like the scan also, that's going to be Freeing caught, utility out. But because the grab net is there, followed by the paranoia, there's just no opportunity. Freeing is going to survive.
But Sociable, meanwhile, off screen, finds 3. Spike can re-rotate back over to B. So even though the play towards tree didn't necessarily work out, the play towards tree did work out because it forced the defense to move. Sociable, headshot lands. Magnum in the corner, gets one, snaps for the second. Big stuff from Magnum as BBL take the pistol.
Magnum in his name, Magnum in his hands as well. 2 kills there to finish things off. It's BBL once again in the lead. This time they'll take a pistol compared to losing the earlier pistol, but what an exit here. These are the kills you talked about. The possibility for Sociable to maybe activate and push over towards spawn, but no, just catching plays in Pizza instead. And Magnum following up at the end. Again, another 2 kills in Pizza to clean up the round.
DRX not going to do anything crazy here, just classic. So BBL, the question will be how cleanly can they take this anti-eco, if they take it at all. We've seen some craziness so far today. Small walk down for DRX at B main. A little bit of pressure here for Hyun Min with the long range angle from Bane, but Magnum Sociable, they find the first 2. And if BBL continue to just rip apart the middle of the map like this is going to be a big issue for DRX defensively.
Well, let's see what happens over here in market. I think Sociable is considering that he could get caught here, but really this is just 2 alive now for DRX as they've been dismantled. Not expecting much from Flicker, although you could just be Sociable and miss the second shot, and Flicker will make things a little bit more interesting for the round. Magnum, too sharp though. It still will be an 8 and 6.
Yep. Just comes down to can Bane find anything else on the post-plant exit?
I was going to say as well that hard for DRX to want to get aggressive in this round, considering, you know, double Sendy for BB on the attacking side means you can cut off so many different angles that DRX could push on through. As you see, the first kill came in through from B main, just waiting patiently. Long range advantage, Sociable getting a kill from Tiles into Cat as well, so patience rewarded here.
2 off the Steel Garden early is Bane, by the way, or Brandon, by the way. That could be something you play for. Can you get him an orb here at B and then re-wrap back over and get him the one at A?
That was also a winning play coming through from Bane on the attacking side for DRX. There was that 1 Steel Garden round win.
Yep.
Looked pretty good for them.
Looks like they want to set him up to try to get one. Decoy, Aldrone, a lot of spend here. Yep, and they're going to get him one off.
The scan, though.
Doesn't make much of a difference. Maybe trying to find one more pick to try to pop the shear. That'll pull the defense, at least their focus initially, over towards B. They also, again, continue to get free space at mid. That's, I mean, again, I just don't know how you deal with this if you're DRX in their current form. Like, you have to have an operator, you would think.
They have double center. You would imagine that you have enough util to cover these gaps, but mid is consistently a gap, and that's going to lead to a take on B.
Flicker, Yunmin, Bane, all still playing on site at B. Bane will catch his first over through stairs. Steel Garden earned though as Magnum finds his elimination, and BBL will profit off of that. last player that could potentially deal some deterrent to this setup would be freeing. He finds one, walking his way in. Good shot backside towards Arches. Sociable on the corner, though. Shuts it down, leaving it down to Mako. 1v3 in his position, largely revealed as he breaks the door at mid.
Yeah, he's going to save here. This is just way too difficult. Steel Garden kind of saw the play coming on through. Take the orb, farm the ult up. And suddenly, DRX's gun advantage gone. Free upgrades all around for BBL. You even have Sociable thinking about going for the chase here. And to be honest, whether he gets a kill or dies, he will get the tour de force off this. So it's a free gun next round, regardless of what happens.
Yeah, why not? 9-6 tally, though. And again, there's a level of, yes, you have double sentinels if you're DRX. But you really don't want to spend a hefty amount of utility guarding mid like that. That's where like the Killjoy has often found a lot of favor in North America. You just throw an alarm bot down or a turret somewhere by mid-market. But you don't have that ability here, and DRX need to figure out what they want to do to defend mid.
Because the sensors, it's not quite the same in terms of info. That's more of a punish utility, right? You want someone to walk into it, then you can just swing on them while they're stunned up, or if they're going to crouch through that one and be slow about it. So, yeah, I guess to your point, not exactly the same. Really, Sheer is the big tool here. That's being placed into B main.
Yeah, you don't want to spend that at mid. They're going to, but it's not going to feel good.
Well, you also can't just keep losing through mid either. So,
Launching Thorns. Thorns activated.
See what the play call is going to be. As also helping out at mid is Flicker. Keep in mind this is a limited purchase though for DRX, so even though they move some of the defensive utility around, how much will it really matter?
Good catch.
Yeah, the decoy for Levin allows him to kind of play off of his own utility. You also have Mako stuck at A main. And Sheer at mid or not, may not make much of a difference. Yunmin with the Hero Phantom, decent damage there. Able to find one, but the spike is not a part of this play. Flicker connects onto the Sheriff shot and hold on a second. Still very winnable until maybe Levin shuts down the Hero Rifle. Now it's going to have to be on the Flicker to connect, and he will not be able to. Bane 1v3 with just a Sheriff.
Ace time.
Outside of the dark cover. Nope, not going to happen. It's an ace for Levin.
There it is. There's the pop-off. That'll earn the Dimensional Drift as well. Beautiful round coming on through from BBL and Levin. And I could see a situation where he gets that dirty flick onto Human as well. Into Glass. That would have been truly disgusting shot. But just catching, freeing out, utility in hands. Playing with his senses. Put some decent damage on a Human, which allows him to just pop through damage through the wall, and then easy ace at the end there to extend this lead further. And suddenly you're starting to look at DRX thinking, it's another 4-round gap. We've seen where these have gone, but we also have seen that also leads to an OT, possibly.
Well, quick hit here on towards A. Defense not really in position to deal with this, although Levin is not out of his dimensional drift yet. Oh, nearly a chance there for the Annihilation to get called in. For freeing, doesn't really work out. Flash onto Flicker, pushes him off. Also gives high ground control to Levin, who again just is snapping. Oh my! 8 straight kills for Levin. And Bane just kind of watching over the top of the site as well. Levin has an ace followed by a 4K. This guy is everything.
Yeah, 2 more. That'll be 11 for 11 in just 3 rounds as BBL. Speaking of which, they hit that number. 11-6, 5-round gap, and you think you're DRX. How do you pull this one into OT again? As we thought it was going to be the defensive side for both teams, certainly looking at the double Cindy setups, but BBL 5 in the attacking side in a row.
And I don't even know what you talk about right now if you're DRX. The middle of the map was an issue. You've moved your utility of the Sheer over, and now it just creates free passage for BBL to stack and push. And I don't know if they've seen the Sheer down at mid at all yet. I don't know if it makes a difference.
I don't know how keen you are if you're DRX to suddenly force up. It's a tough situation. If you lose the next round, guess what? BBL hit 12. That's match point.
It's match point, yeah.
That means BBL go through, most likely. But so what are you going to do? You don't have any money. Are you going to fight for this round to prevent that 12 from coming on through?
I think you have to.
But a defensive force coming through with double Senti on a defense, and you want to get we saw a aggressive round come through from DRX somewhere. I believe it might have been the first 3, and that got shut down really massively as well. So we've seen that fall apart for DRX. Either way, between a rock and a hard place here, you can save, give the 12 over. That feels terrible. You can force. and you lose, well, then you lose the entire series,
yeah, they're
probably.
going to go for Sheriffs. I think there's a level of, like, you know, you want to see the team play for the win. Not to say that Sheriffs are impossible, especially considering how good some of the shots have been, but again, you're dealing with light armors and double outlaws for BBL.
Yeah, I mean, they're just so set up to take down DRX in this anti-eco. You saw the potential for DRX to set up sort of a flash play, paranoia play into A, but BBL just weren't even there, so that's a little unlucky for DRX. And now mid taken again and freeing. Doesn't quite have vision over, but he might be in a position to get himself a freebie onto Magnum if something goes well for him.
Delayed play through mid, why not? It's been free. There's the sheer. Sociable doesn't care. Yeah, and you just stagger that with the play through B main. Spike will be held back just a touch, but look at the rotation watch here from Magnum. And now it's just down to who hits their shots if you're DRX with pressure all over the map.
Bane and Human need to do a lot here. Bane falls early. Human falls to the back of the smoke, but they just know where he is. They're going to run him down. He's going to be good for one, but this is the plant coming in. Post-plant is going to have a Hunter's Fury. No gun upgrades here. Marco's going to at least bring it numbers to more reasonable.
We'll get him one rifle. Marco's at full health. Door is weak. Dark cover will possess the mid-map. Freeing. Is he even the first one to peek? Is it just going to be some sort of a peek out through this?
Oh, Mako, what?
A shot from Mako. How has he managed that? So now you've got a chance. Mako's still full, but he gets blindsided by Yampi. Last one is freeing, and he's caught outside of Boathouse.
Man.
Match point for BBL.
Mako made that one interesting, but I think the insurance policy was still there. Yampi, something nice and clean. Looking at Hunter's Fury, match point found. And what a win it would be for BBL to not only take down Sentinels, but then DRX as well. Be 3 map wins for them in a row against 2 top international squads. You won't be able to call this one a fluke anymore.
No.
Especially if it's a best of 3 where they clean up 2-0. You don't even go to a map 3. Forget about it.
Yeah. And it's been impressive for BBL. It really has been. Have not dropped an offensive round into a double Sentinel setup on Ascent.
Yeah. And now, because Cher is in mid every single time, you're feeling confident about the rest of the map, and you're feeling way more confident now that Flicker's gone, and Flicker's been so solid for DRX as well.
It's just so clean, dude. It's so clean. One player plays the counter flash. Little bait switch that comes out. Dimensional Drift is here. There's the decoy. There's the pop flash. Follow it up with one more. Hunter's Fury. Little extra damage. Salt in the wounds as Mako will be the last one left and has given this the good old heave-ho college try. But it had to be a 1v5. And this next part is the most difficult part about it.
He's a real positioning.
Try to get one of his own. Sidestep just a touch. Spam is good as Prophet finishes it off a convincing 13-6 at BBL 2-0 to qualify for playoff.
And the most insane thing about how this series ends is the fact that it's a 13-6, not dropping a single round on the offensive side, considering you're running into a double senti, as we've already discussed. But better than that, you look at how those last 2 maps went, double OTs, OT versus Sentinels, OT versus DRX. How about you go to the Ascent map choice from DRX, by the way, and then you just dominate them 13-6. I mean, they're getting better. They're looking better as we move along, to the point where it's like, not only can you not say this is a fluke anymore, but now you have to start talking about, like, how far does BBL now shift up the rankings to be, dare I say, I don't want to say favorite yet, but I mean, it's starting to look that way.